I would now like to invite for her remarks, Ms. Debbie Palmer, who is the head of office in DFID, and she's going to be talking to us this morning on Nigeria's youth demography, making the numbers count in elections. A warm welcome, Debbie.
Thank you very much, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please allow me to stand on existing protocols and simply to say a special good morning to all the honourables here present and a good morning to everybody else. So my name is Debbie Palmer. I'm the head of DFID here in Nigeria, and I'm really proud to be here this morning looking out at all of you, nearly 400 political candidates from a wide spread of the 91 registered political parties in Nigeria, with your character, your competence, and your capacity getting to run in Nigeria's 2019 elections. And I'm proud to be here because it's an honor and a privilege to be part of the conversation about getting ready to run. We celebrated hard and loud, and rightly so, when the Not Too Young to Run bill was signed into law. That was a huge achievement, and I want to congratulate again and publicly, and I'll keep doing so, everybody who was involved in that movement and everybody who is standing for office as a result of that. Now, the movement has had to pivot to then supporting young people to vie for their representational seats. And that's something that UKAID and DFID, my organisation, which runs UKAID, is really proud to stand behind. Because today is about gender and women, it's about inclusion, it's about political participation, it's about you guys. It's about young people here in Nigeria. And in a nutshell, it's about Nigeria's future, because you are the people who will lead the way. Now, Samson has asked me this morning to talk about how we can make the numbers of young people here count in elections. So I could talk about youths voting for each other. I could talk about how young people could vote en bloc and en masse for a candidate of any age that they think they should support. But I want to talk about something which, dare I say, I think is even more important. I want to talk a little bit about the wider political process around elections and how young people can make their numbers count in this broader discussion about Nigeria's future. And as I said, this is important because, quite simply, young people are Nigeria's future. The numbers speak for themselves. According to latest estimates, roughly 50% of Nigeria's population now fall within the youth cohort. And I was told this morning, to my great disappointment, that if you can remember watching the royal wedding of Prince Charles and Lady Diana Spencer in 1981, you are really not in the youth cohort anymore. But leaving that sad fact for me to one side, it actually means that over the next 2 decades, we will see a younger crop of leaders, as well as young people needing a space in society and needing a voice. Now, allow me to just dig into this a little bit, because it's something that's incredibly important. You will all know that according to projections, Nigeria is set to become potentially the 3rd largest nation on earth by 2050, after China and India, according to projections. So, what that means is there will be a huge rise in the number of Nigeria's working age population over the next 50 years. And in theory, this could transition Nigeria from being a lower middle-income country to being a higher middle-income country with a GDP per capita of over $8,000 per person. That is a bright future to work for. That would be a fantastic future for Nigeria. To get there, Nigeria needs to be investing in its healthcare, its education, its economic reforms. Because in a nutshell, we've got huge numbers of Nigerians being born, and we need those people to be nourished, to be educated, to be healthy, to be skilled, to become productive members of Nigerian society, having jobs, driving this economy forward. Because the key to Nigeria's future will be the balance between the population growth and the economic growth. And it's about how do we get all those kids being born today to be as productive as possible to drive forward this country to success in the future. Now, that's difficult when health budgets are very low. That's difficult, frankly, and it may be controversial to say, but I'm going to say it, and you can all debate it. It's difficult when revenues are very, very low. Because at the moment, when revenues are almost the lowest in the world by percentage of GDP, it's very difficult then to make the projections to build up the health and education systems that the country needs to ensure we've got that nourished, educated, healthy workforce that are going into productive jobs in the future. Now, we've heard this morning about Frantz Fanon's challenge. There's a challenge for every generation. Some of you may be saying, why should I care about these things that this lady's talking about? All I want to do is get elected, right? So my challenge to you this morning is no, that's not right. For the simple reason that whether you get elected or not, these are the issues that are central to Nigeria's future. These are the issues that you need to care about. And more importantly, you need to know what you stand for if you're going to get elected. Because you need to be able to tell people what you stand for if you're going to get people to believe in you and vote for you. So I hope when we see your manifestos and your commitments, they will reflect the issues that you think are important for Nigeria's future. Not hate speech, not fake news, not denigration of political opponents, but the things that you care about for your nation and for the future and bright future of this country. And that is my exhortation and challenge to you this morning. I urge you to focus on the matters that count: education, health, security, accountability, inclusion. Focus on the real issues that matter to this nation, because that will be what determines the health of Nigeria going forward. Now, I hope that all of you are successful as you go towards the polls in 2019. But even if some of you are not successful, you can still engage on these issues that matter. You can volunteer. You can join advocacy campaigns. You can work in your communities. And of course, and I very much hope, even if you're unsuccessful, you will run again in the future. Because this time now for all of you is about learning your craft, learning how to handle yourselves, learning what you believe in, learning how to become in some sort of relationship with the electorate, learning what this new world looks like. And I hope for many of you it will become your profession and your vocation. And we've got some fantastic members of the House here this morning who I'm sure can talk about how it's become their profession and their vocation. It's not just your right to stand for election, but in the future it's also, I would say, your responsibility. Because as I said, you are the change that this nation could see in the future. And you need to work out what you stand for and what change you want to see. So the Not Too Young to Run campaign was the first ever of its kind in Nigeria, but it has shown what advocacy, determination, political astuteness, networking, and sacrifice can yield. Some of you are here today because of that campaign, so I want to remind you of the values that you need to hold dear as you vie for office. It doesn't matter what the other contender is doing or saying. Remember your commitments to dignity, inclusion, and integrity. Remember that women matter, people with disabilities matter. Please don't leave them behind. They have exactly the same rights that you do, and they have a really important contribution to make. I understand we're going to have a young politician from Kenya who's going to be speaking later, as well as the youngest member of Zimbabwe's parliament, who I'm doubly pleased is female. You will also hear from many other Nigerians here today who are either involved in the political space or who've made their mark in other areas of public life. I'm sure they will all tell you that there are days of frustration and discouragement. But Nigeria's future depends on you and what you do. So don't give up. Please don't give up when things are not the way you'd like them to be. Your numbers mean you can make a difference, and that's fine. But even more important is ensuring your collective contribution to make the change in the lives of your community and your country. That's the weight on your shoulders. It's about driving the change you want to see. Last week, my Nigerian colleagues in the office told me, "Sha, those young people need to come with something different, oh. They're smart and sophisticated, but they can't come with the same old politics." And so there's an expectation on all of you. Those expectations are built on hope. A hope that the next generation of leaders will reshape how things are done in Nigeria and build for the future. That hope rests with you. It's up to you to do things differently. And that is why my organization, DFID, has been happy to support the movement and is delighted to be supporting today's conversations. We will continue to support you as long as you continue to lead the change in good faith. So while I commend you for putting yourselves forward, please don't see this as the end of the road. This is the beginning. Across entertainment, across academia, across business, young Nigerians have been changing the narrative. And now it's time to change the political narrative. It's time to get the voices, the ideas, and the energy of young Nigerians to lead the process. This is my challenge to you. The race is on. I wish you my very best.